as if what Homer and Greek society is saying is that the gods loved Odysseus so much that they needed him to learn something before they would allow him to come home. And I think what they needed him to learn was that he had the order of things out of order. He thought of himself first as a king, then maybe as a husband, and then maybe as a father. When he went to the Trojan War, what did he do? He abandoned his wife. He abandoned his infant son, and then was lost to them for 20 years, and basically asked them to fend for themselves while he was off doing this glorious war with Agamemnon and famously with Achilles. And so when he finally gets home, he's finally allowed to be reunited with his wife. He's finally revealed to her as Odysseus because her eyes have been sort of shaded by Athena, the mists of Athena, so that she cannot recognize her husband. And they are reunited in the bridal chamber, in the marriage bed, which is actually this beautiful. The description of it is of a bed that was carved out of the bole of a giant olive tree that is at the top of the hill upon which Ithaca and the royal palace was built. And the bedroom was built right around it. The tree grows right out of the ceiling and up to the sky towards the gods. It's a beautiful image of the rootedness of this sacred bond between husband and wife that Zeus's poems both seem to contemplate, and both seem to need their warriors to understand that for instance, for Odysseus, his vital role first is as husband, then it is as father, and then it is as king. It's almost as if the oikos is insisting that the order of things be reestablished before Odysseus can enjoy the fruits of winning the war against Troy. And for those of you who've seen the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, it's actually a pretty good version because it gets the sympathies of Homer right. You watch that film, you read the Iliad, and your sympathies generally are with the Trojans. They seem like a more noble people, but I want to talk a little bit about what's wrong with Troy, too. Hector is a noble man. He seems much more noble and less rash and angry when compared to Achilles or Agamemnon. However, the Trojans do not want to fight this war. All of the Trojans, including Hector, recognize that what Paris has done is a fundamental violation of all of the things that the Trojans and Greeks alike hold as sacred. And in fact, Hector's men come to him at one point and say to him, "Tell your brother just to give Helen back." And Hector goes to Paris and says, "Just give her back." And Paris refuses. Now we have a conflict. This is where right versus right comes in. The conflict is between Hector's responsibility as the king of Troy, well, his father Priam is the king, but the main warrior of Troy, to the city and to the people, and his loyalty to his brother. And obviously he chooses the loyalty to his brother over the city and is forced, and forces everybody else, to defend this thing that Paris has done and refuses to undo. And so again, you have a disorder at the center of things in Troy. The other thing that we notice about Troy that's different, one of the differences between Troy and the Trojans and the Greeks, is that the Greeks are active and they go out to defend that thing that cannot be violated, this bond between Menelaus and Helen. And if you read the Odyssey, the union between Menelaus and Helen, when they are reunited, the relationship they have is absolutely beautiful. And Homer goes a long way to establishing that their love for each other, their affection for each other, their care for each other, and their marriage is rooted in something that is deep and abiding and real. And Helen, of course, becomes a great healer for those who are wounded by the strife and the unpredictability of life in the Greek world at the time. So I just wanted you guys to be thinking a little bit about these central themes. We know classically the theme of the Iliad is Achilles' anger. And at one point in book one, he even says, "Why am I even fighting this war? I don't have a dog here. I don't have a dog in this fight. You know, Menelaus is your brother. Helen is his wife. I'm king of the Myrmidons. I don't even need to be here." And yet, out of loyalty to kith and kin, to the idea of marriage, it's almost as if what Homer is saying about the Greeks is this: If we do not go to take Helen back, then our reputations for honor will be unalterably marred. And everyone in the world will know that the Greeks do not stand and will not fight and will not die for the things that they say are most important to them. And so that's what's on the line for everybody involved in this tragic war. Are two tribes who are dedicated to the idea that if they don't defend what they say they honor the most, then their reputations will be marred to the point of being known in the world as dishonorable, which was the worst possible thing you could be thought of in the Greek world. So I hope you're enjoying your reading. I look forward to our discussion of the books that you guys decide that you want to summarize for your classmates. Obviously, I don't want Wendy to summarize the same book that Tyresha decides to summarize, or Amber. So this is why I wanted you to go to questions and queries. Let your course mates know what book you've chosen. If somebody gets there first, they get the first choice, obviously. But once you see which ones your other two course mates have chosen, you can choose one of your own. I'm not going to put a due date on this, but the way that this journal assignment is going to work is you're going to post your, and I'll put the directions up for it in just a little while. You're going to post your summary of your book, and then I'm going to ask your other two course mates to post responses to your summary. To make comments about what observations they have about that particular story. But you guys read the directions for that discussion once it goes up, and you'll understand. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing me a little bit. I really am not enjoying the COVID-19 quarantine business and doing everything online. And so I decided to do this video, and I'll probably do a few more this week, just to give us all the feeling that we're human. And if you do enjoy it, I'd like you to post a comment in questions and queries, responding to this content if you want me to do more of it. And again, if you have any questions, if you have any problems, make sure that you contact me at borse@uamont.edu, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So happy reading. And I want to compliment all of you on the great work that you're doing. I could not be more pleased at how seriously you're taking things and how good your responses have been in your assignments so far. So keep up the good work. All right. I'll see you again soon.